Solo Leveling Arise is going to be coming out on May 8th. And now what that means is I have to start making a lot of content again. I've been playing a lot on the side, making sure to brush up on what I know, my knowledge. And today I'm going to be giving you guys everything that you guys should probably know at the beginning of the game. There might be a couple things left out, and if so, it's probably going to be in other videos. If not, I will give you guys the proper sites and proper other tools to check it out for yourself. Alright, so Solo Leveling is actually a really fun game made by Netmarble, and I think they did it in a really good way. There are some very big issues, but we could hope that they will, in fact, fix them. So in this video, you should be getting a proper guide to a good amount, or pretty much everything in this game that you guys would need to know about. So I feel like the first thing that a lot of people would want me to start with in a game like this is the summoning system, and then we'll talk a bit about the units you would want to reroll for the most part. So there's two different types of banners at this current point in time. The first one is a limited type of rate up banner, where obviously they feature new units. We had this previously with Choi Jong-in, and now we have it with Baek Yoon-ho. So these banners are going to be pretty nice. They share the same pity, so pity does transfer over, okay? Now the full pity is 80, but at 64, it starts increasing by 5.4% every single pull. So let's say you're at 64, then you go to 65, well that's going to be an extra 5.4%. Then 66 is going to be an extra 5.4%. I'm pretty sure it's 5.4. Let me just make sure I'm not tripping, but I am almost certain that it is 5.4%. Something around there. Every single pull is going to increase by that amount until you get your guaranteed SSR. So these banners, or these units as of right now, Baek Yoon-ho and then also Choi Jong-in, are not going to the standard banner, but that is something that may change in the future, not guaranteed. So any single limited banner is going to be sharing the same pity pulls, and I think that's interesting and very important. So you could lose one, but the next one is guaranteed to be the guaranteed unit, the rate up unit, the new one in this. Before we really get into it further, I do want to say that I have a creator code that's going to be able to be used starting the 8th. I will give more info in future videos how exactly to use it, and I'll mention it here and there. But this is basically going to be able to support me if you do use it. And it does seem that in the future, depending on the amount of uses, maybe we'll be getting exclusive codes to give out to you guys for rewards, but I'm not entirely sure on the details just yet. But basically, you would link your game account and you could put in a Rise Gikku when you do make purchases and basically support me. I mean, this is a really interesting thing that Netmarble is doing, because I've never seen this in a gacha game before. I mean, the only time I've really seen something like this was in Fortnite. For creators, but good on Netmarble for actually doing this for creators. And yeah, put in a Rise Gikku when the game does come out globally. It seems that's when you're going to be able to actually start using these codes to support creators. This case being Baek Yoon-ho. So if I lose one, guaranteed next time on this banner, I would win it. So that's it for the rate up draw. Now we go to the selection draw, which I think is the best standard banner in a gacha game ever. No questions asked. So the selection draw is going to be a standard banner for this game, taking a different type of tickets. As we can see, this has limited tickets, and this, I like to call them the standard tickets. I would like to note that, first of all, there is two different types of weapons. One for hunters, a whole section for hunters, and a whole section for Jinwoo. So basically, that's the two things that you're mainly going to be prioritizing alongside the hunters on this banner. Now, we could see everything here, and all of these SSRs you're actually able to rate up and change it as you want. So we can see we have all the hunters and all of Jinwoo's weapons that are SSR. Now, what's very interesting, so it was 5.8%. I believe I said 5.4, but it is 5.8% that it goes up by. So, the weapons that Jinwoo has are actually going to be growing on the standard banner. And what's very interesting is this weapon was a new weapon, okay? It was added with Baek Yoon-ho. And if we check here, Baek Yoon-ho actually does not have this weapon on the banner, which means they're actually adding new weapons for Jinwoo on the selection list, which is the standard banner. And let me just say, you could get a crap ton of standard tickets to actually pull on this banner. From the challenges section alone, I think you get 130. That's over a pity. That's almost 2 pities. As we can see, the pity's 80, but 130 is usually going to be about 2 SSRs, give or take, right? Because you're going to get either a bit lucky, or the soft pity is going to come in clutch a bit earlier than 70 even. So keep that in mind. Now, from the selection list, for the most part, a lot of people are going to want to put a couple different units, okay? You're going to want to put usually Emma, and Seoju. These are like the two biggest ones early game. Okay, if you are trying to build Chahin, then I would say going for Min Byung-gu is not a bad idea at all. Now, as for weapons, the best one for most people is actually going to be Book of Thetis. I'm going to take off the plum because I actually do need a Book of Thetis. It's going to be Book of Thetis and then the Plum Blossom Sword. Those are the two best ones for the most part. That's going to give you a lot of value over time. Now, Dark is just going to be good throughout the whole game, and later on especially, you're going to need Dark weapons against someone like Igris, but then the Water Book also is going to be good. If we're considering the instance dungeons, is going to be good against the Lycan boss. So both Dark and Water are the ones you would want to focus on mainly for Jinwoo in the long run, but also short term, these weapons are both very good. This one being more of a crit weapon, and this one just doing very good damage, AoE, and being able to freeze everything, right? Now, I would definitely say Emma, very good for AoE. Jinwoo is going to be someone you actually would kind of need later on for many bosses such as Cerebrus, and also just because of how good she is in general. She's a solo carry on a lot of instances. So I find this type of selection draw very, very interesting. So if you want more detailed information on how to get SSR Hunter weapons, please go to the weapons section of this video. Obviously, there is going to be timestamps. Now then, let's quickly explain the battle system before going very intricate into what exactly the skills are for both Jinwoo and Hunters, because they are both separate. So every single game mode will either be relying on Jinwoo or the Hunters. And if they're relying on our golden main character, then the Hunters will be assist units. So in story, you're able to use both. In gates, you're able to use both, depending on the situations in story and gates. In Encore, you can see this little icon, meaning it's only Hunters, and then in instance, it's going to be Jinwoo with obviously the assist of the Hunters. Battlefield of Trials is your game mode. We're going to go more in depth to exactly that has both player and Hunter, where it's going to be only Jinwoo here, and then only the Hunters here, essentially. When I say only Jinwoo, it still means that the Hunters are on the side. Then Battlefield of Time is going to be both, depending, and Power of Destruction is usually also going to be both. So let's go into an actual thing to basically explain how it works. So we're going to go into both a Hunter dungeon and a Jinwoo dungeon to kind of see the differences. We're only going to stay in for roughly 30 seconds to a minute, and then I'll just finish it off myself. But let's go into it. So for Hunters, we could actually see that we're able to bring 3 Hunters and then the Shadows. Okay, the Shadows is also a big part of this. Okay. Now, one other big thing is that there's type advantages and disadvantages. Now, when the boss is type advantage, you're doing 50% less damage. And when you are type advantage, you're doing an extra 150%. So type advantages is extremely important and could honestly change just if you're going to be able to win or lose. So that is something very important to actually consider. So we're going to go into this very quickly. I'll just explain a couple different things in game, and then we're going to go to Jinwoo because I think it's also important to do both of them, and then we'll be able to just be good. Then we're going to go more in depth in the skills section. So, you know, for people who want a more in-depth part, maybe just skip to that point. But if you want to just see overall roughly how it looks, then, you know, you could stay for this. Now, lovely intros, right? Very lovely intros. I'm not going to lie. I have my game in English just to get a different experience. I like to change it up sometimes. So you will see that every Hunter has 2 skills, then the ultimate. Now, what's very important that I want to show is the basic attack. So every time I use the basic attack, you will see that there's a bar filling up. Okay, so now 3 hits in, the bar is halfway, right next to the basic attack, right there, right? You can see it. So once I get to max, then you will see the attack changes and becomes what is called a core attack. So when it says core attack, it means exactly this. That is the core attack. Then obviously we have our 2 skills, okay, different for everyone. And in certain instances, you'll be able to actually swap in and get a special skill for the like QTE. So in many instances, it's when you knock someone down, or for example, if a skill does it itself. So for example, Min Byung-gu's ult usually instantly procs me being able to shift in to Choi Jung-in and get his special support skill. So they are called basically the support skills, and then that's going to be triggered depending on the different things, either being airborne. So I think my E procs the airborne. And in this case, it would be more so for Jinwoo, which would be able to proc some QTE skills. And then obviously just waiting some time, usually doing enough attacks, will proc me being able to go back into it. And then obviously your ultimate will be there. Now, you have the mana bar, which is going to fill up over time as you do attack. So let's say we just waste stuff, right? Okay, I'm at 1278. We could see every second or so, we get 1 mana. But then when I start attacking, the mana goes up much quicker by 5 per hit, okay? So That's something very important to actually know. So that's basically it. Now, I'm pretty sure you could actually make that higher or lower depending on your mana gauge recovery. So do keep that in mind. And then obviously we have the ultimate, and we're going to finish off with this. Now then, for Jinwoo, it is a bit different. Okay, so essentially you're going to have Jinwoo, and then you're going to have your 3 hunters and then the shadows. All right, so that's basically, it's just how it is. Now, let's go into it very quickly and then end it off with this. I just wanted to get this part done and dealt with, okay? I wonder how long it's going to take to load in, because sometimes this can be rough to get in on time or not have it crash in the meanwhile, which is something I definitely hope is fixed in the long run, because I thought it would already be fixed. So we are in. He's obviously got his own little intro too, which is a bit different. You usually see those for Jinwoo and then the dungeon breaks. So here we go. All right, now we could see that I have my own skills. You're able to change the skills on Jinwoo. These are the ones that I personally like to use, okay? Depends on the scenarios, but I think that definitely, these are like okay, definitely not the best in a lot of these. So you could see, depending on the instance, I will be able to proc certain things. And one of the big things that you guys need to know is that if I actually do an extreme evasion, okay, wait, I do not usually fight these guys. So if I do an extreme evasion, I'll be able to get this QTE skill, which is going to put a big defense decrease debuff on them. So it's definitely going to be worth it to use that defense decrease by evading as soon as possible to just have the what's it called, the defense. Now obviously there is a cooldown to using it, but you could see the defense decrease debuff is on them. All right, so that's something important. Now, if we go into the weapons, right, you're able to hold 2 weapons. And right now I'm on the book, so the first weapon you have is going to be the one you're attacking with first. But if I use my C, switch to the gun, I get a big skill attack, but then I also switch to the gun. Now if I use my book, then I immediately go back into the book and have to wait the 17 seconds. So that's basically how it goes. Now Jinwoo only has 2 ultimates up to this point, and you want to get the second ultimate as quick as you can. But bro, it does look pretty cool. I cannot lie. It looks sick. And then, you know, I don't know why there's this glitching effect, but yeah, we're not going to try and beat this because it will take way too long for this video, so we're going to end it for this point. Now then, we're going to talk a bit about the stats and how the weapons play off of it. And at least for me, as a pay to win, I think that it does hinder me at least a bit, if I'm being honest. Now, once I get Thetis's book to dupe 1, I will be better off. But as of right now, let's just talk about certain things. So there's 5 different stats, being strength, vitality, agility, intelligence, and perception. You don't want to touch intelligence or vitality, okay? It's just not worth it. For vitality, like, you just dodge better if you're really dying, okay? And then for intelligence, usually you don't need the MP a lot of the times. It might be annoying sometimes, so you might want to put like 5-10 points, but honestly, just get better gear for intelligence instead of having to get more MP through intelligence. Do it in other ways. So usually the first focus is strength, but there's 2 things I want to mention: how crit rate and also precision has a max. Now for me, I rock 69% precision rate now, but if I got this up at least to 1 dupe, I'd be able to be good, because when you get weapon dupes, you get precision, as we can see here. Pretty sure the first dupe is 2000. The first dupe's 2000. If I just got 2000 precision on this, I'd be good, because then I put this, for example, even though it's lower level, right, my precision is up to 74%. So one of the main things that is pretty important is to kind of max out that precision stat. So just for the sake of this, we're gonna, let's put like, just let's go slowly. Okay, let's go slowly and show it. So you're able to max it out at 99%. So I think we have to probably be around here is my guess, and then it should be good. No, okay, a bit more, and then we'll actually be able to get it. So 40 more just to say, and okay, well, I guess 20 more, and then we should be, or 10 more, please. Just all right. So now that's the max. Now precision is a pretty important stat, because what exactly does it do? It adjusts the minimum amount of damage when attacking, so you're going to do more base damage every time. So you do want precision. Now this is going to be more early game, because later game, you're going to be able to get more precision from the weapons. Even, for example, I did a bad thing, at least as a pay to win, was sell a lot of my SR weapons because I wanted weapon XP quicker, which I'm telling you was rough early on. But for example, if you're someone who has highly duped out even SR weapons, it wouldn't be a bad idea to use them for the precision stats, so keep that in mind. Now overall, the first main thing that you do want to focus on usually is strength. So I'll put usually about this much into it. And I like going off of agility. For most people, obviously going for that precision is just way better, okay? Especially early game, you do want to focus on that precision to do just more damage overall. But as you advance, getting that crit rate is not a bad idea. Now, overall, I'm going to go more towards crit rate, especially depending on the build. With Plum, it would be better, but precision should definitely be worked on, and trying to get to that 99% is big. Now, same way that precision has a max, if we go into this, let's just put this all in. I'll be back after clicking. You can see the max of crit rate is 50%. So two of the main stats you do want to focus on: precision via the weapon dupes, either SSR or SR, and then crit rate through gear and also the stats. So obviously you're not going to be putting it all into agility, right? That's not what you want to do. Mainly you want to focus on strength. So like either like a 4-to-1 or like something similar to that ratio with attack, and then either perception or agility is best. Okay, early game from what I've been seeing is that precision works a lot better. So for more in-depth guide for this, I don't know where this originates from, but please, if you guys know down below, please let me know, and I will put it in the description and the pinned comment. So either if you have Plum, and if you don't have Plum, you're going to be working on different types of things, where you're going to go 1-to-1 strength perception until you get to 80% perception, then go strength perception 2-to-1 until there's 85%, and then do 3-to-2 agility. So agility is going to be later when you have enough crit rate and perception, right? So that's basically how it's going to work. And if you do have Plum, which is the like kind of crit rate weapon, pre-Igris, you do strength 2, so 2 attack, 2 agility, 1 perception. Mainly because Plum works much better off of crit, right? And then post Igris, you just do strength agility for the most part. So that's basically how it's gonna be working. All right, so if you want to see everything else, read it on screen right now. Pause the video. Thank you so much to this guide, right? And yeah, that's basically it for this section. So now we're going to talk about the skill system. All right, so there is what, like 3, 6, 9, 10 skills, but each skill has different runes. So the runes will drastically change how exactly the skill works, and a lot of them will actually be extremely good. So getting runes is very nice, especially because it does add typings to the skills. So in a lot of instances, you will actually want this to be able to do more damage against certain bosses. Let's say the boss is weak to dark, then you might want to put Crushing Blow with the dark, or Vertical Arts with the Reap rune. So little stuff like that. Now I won't tell you what the best runes are outright. I will try to give the proper resources for you guys to find out, but a lot of the times it will be, in my opinion, for grinding, Commander's Touch does work very well because it sucks a lot of people in. So even for story, you will find, I found pretty good uses for it, especially when you're trying to beat a bunch of mobs at the same time. Commander's Touch is able to suck them in and just go crazy, right? So big area effects like that is personally very good. Now Crushing Blow I find decent against bosses because of the fact that it applies break, okay, and it's also going to do some light damage. But I think I feel like there was other parts to it, but it's going to basically be these. Oh yeah, this is it. So it also decreases the attack of the enemy by 15%, which is why I like to use it. Now Death Stance I like just for the break it does, and also because you could use it 3 times and it's low mana. It is a pretty good like finishing for like little mobs effect, but it is nothing like insane, right? So those are the ones I use, but there are for sure other good ones, and I will probably make a more in-depth video on this in the future. Let me know what you guys use down below for the skills. Now as for the QTE, you do want to level up. I mean, you don't really need to level them up, but for the most part, like the one you want to use, I should say, is Shadow Step. Obviously when you use the Extreme Evasion, the other two are just for damage, but are not like the craziest either way. But this one does apply 60% defense decrease for 15%, and also slows the enemy down, as I mentioned in the battle section. Now you have Darkness Obliteration first, and then it goes to Mutilate. You do want to usually use Mutilate. Okay, Mutilate is just better. We can see from the damage, way better, right? Way better. Even at level 7, it's not going to be, it's like a whole 1000% higher. You're going to unlock Mutilate as you go, so that's basically going to be it for that. Last part to really talk about is going to be this. So you're going to get job changes, and there seems to be more in the future, but basically it's going to give you access to extra stats. And then once you get Monarch of Shadows, basically Necromancer and Monarch are unlocked at the same time. But Monarch, once you unlock this, you will be able to unlock the Army of Shadows. So just doing this, usually also, by the way, you're able to, if you have this blessing on, which usually it's just applied instantly to you unless somehow you took it off. I've heard of some people not having it, but everyone should get it, so I don't know how that works. But basically you're going to be able to die once and still live. So even if you are low HP, just continue. You're going to be able to get an extra res in, and you should be good to finish it off with the extra life, because it's not extremely hard, but you are fighting like a Shadow Jinwoo, so that is pretty cool. Now then, I explained it a bit already, but let's explain the hunters section. So, hunters could be leveled up depending on Jinwoo's max level, okay? And the max level is the account level, so that's basically how it works. Now, I already explained the basic attack. So you have your basic attack, and then once you use the basic attack enough, you're going to get the core attack, which is going to be a much stronger and better version. Now, each hunter has 2 basic skills, okay? And they obviously change per person, and these basic skills, alongside the basic attacks, will go up to filled in the ultimate gauge, okay? Now, there is there's a support skill and a QTE skill, and you could see how exactly it activates. So this one is him swapping in, and the support QTE skill is from extreme evasion, core attack, or ultimate. So I'm pretty sure it does change per person if I am not mistaken, but I could be extremely wrong, which it does seem to be the case just looking at this. So please forget I said anything on that. But it will have its own effects, and for example, Choi's is very good with the defense decrease, and also on this one too. So, these do work even when it's with Jinwoo, so you will actually see them for that. Now, everyone has a passive, and you unlock up to 5 extra passive parts if you dupe them out, as we can see here, right? So, like, for example, just for these guys, you could get up to, well, obviously you get 5 dupes, a lot easier, but if you could also go an extra 5 dupes further, but they're good, but it's nothing like you need, because it's going to give you a total with the extra 5 dupes above the 5 dupes, so a total of 10 dupes. If you dupe 10 it, you're going to get an extra 15% attack, defense, and HP, which is actually quite good, but definitely it's not something necessary, right? For SRs, it can make or break a unit though. Like for example, Kangtae Shik would definitely get a lot better if you could get those extra dupes at the end. Now for the hunter, right, you're able to share their weapons. We're going to talk a bit about the hunter weapons too, so just stay out for that. It's going to be after the gear upgrade, I'm pretty sure. Now you're able to advance them, right, as we talked about. Takes a dupe every time, and also you're able to growth upgrade, which is going to increase their base stats with these mana power elixirs that you could get in different places, right? Now, hunters usually base themselves off of either attack, defense, or HP, so you do want to pay attention to that. For example, Baekhyun Ho is off of defense, Seoju is off of max HP, and then Chon Jung-in is off of attack. So you would want to base their gear and their weapon off of that. So usually how I recommend going at it is building 3 to 4 weapons, and try to build for the hunters 1 of each different stat. And if you're going for a Jinwoo and also Emma account, then you could actually just focus on, it's so sad that I got Emma's weapon, but I'm now using it on Jinwoo because I just find her better. Rookie mistakes, guys. But anyway, if you're going for these 2, right, then you could just need like 2 HP weapons, or if you're not using them in the same team, just have 1 HP weapon to share between the 2 of them, like I do, because Byung-gu has his own HP weapon in this instance. And we can see here that precision does also go on dupes from that. For SR weapons, it seems to be a max of 2,000, right, as you can see here. But then the first dupe of SSR weapons is already at 2,000. So that's a little intro to the characters, how they all have their basic attacks. And yeah. Now then, gear is pretty much the same for Jinwoo and also for the hunters. Okay, so there's 2 sets, 4 sets. And I mean, for my good ones like here, usually 4 sets I like running a lot more, but depending on the unit, right? So that's going to be something I'm going to take care of, like doing the best builds separately, making guides for each unit. I think that's going to be pretty important, in my opinion. But a lot of the times you're just going to try to base it off of like the main stats that they're going off of and what they do. So like for example, Baekhyun Ho would use break gear to be able to break and do extra damage in the breaking state, right? That's how I go into it. So there's 2 sections. I like to call this the equipment section and this the accessory section. Okay, you can actually get them in 2 different places. Okay, you're gonna unlock the accessories as you go. Now, for example, the top stat could be pretty much anything. So like the 3 main stats, so like HP, defense, and attack, either percent or flat. Okay. Now for this one, it's just defense. Okay, that's all it is. For this one, it's just additional attack. And then for the bottom piece, it's going to be like a bunch of other stuff too. So alongside it could be, let me just pull it up for you guys to give you guys a visual on this. So if we go to the artifact sets, you could see what exactly you could get as the main stat. Alright, so here we go. So for body, you could only be defense. For gloves, only attack. But then here you could get healing, crit damage, defense pen, defense percent, and HP percent. Now here you could get attack percent, additional attack, defense percent, additional defense, HP percent, additional HP. Now for all of the 4 accessories, additional HP. Then all the typings, okay? And then earrings is only MP, okay? And then here it could be attack percent, additional attack, defense percent, additional defense, HP percent, additional HP. Now, something important to note is that, by the way, please, go to Predwin. Predwin's actually doing pretty good and actually a pretty well-built site. We'll talk about that more later. But something very important is that on the left side, the gear, you can only get crit rate, and on the right side, you can only get crit damage. So you can't get the crits of both. So that's something very important, that your left side pieces would like crit rate, and unfortunately, it's something that I find very difficult. Like, my luck for crit rate has not been good, but my crit damage luck has been good. So I guess it's just unfortunate in that regard. Now, how exactly do you get the gears? You can get some in different ways, and over time, I'm pretty sure this one's going to be for high-end gear, but Encore is going to be giving you the equipment, and one thing I want to preface is that it's going to mainly be better to start, even if you're able to do only tier 1 or 2, to do these, because you're going to get a higher level gear than if you're doing level 8. Now the thing is, it's going to be lower rarity, and what the rarity does is start off the gear at a higher substat. So I'll explain that part later, but you always want to do, if you're only able to do tier 1, to do this, right? To just do this tier 1 instead of tier 8 once you're able to do tier 8, and basically it's just going to be better that way. So the left part, so Kasaka and Cerebrus are giving the legs and the hands, right? And then the snake, the arachnid, and then the forest thingy, I don't even know what to call it, is going to be giving the body piece and the helmet, okay? So it's going to be separated that way. You would like to go back and forth, but let's just say that Cerebrus is much tougher than arachnid, especially if Chahin is going to be coming out on launch, so that's something to note. Now for the instance dungeon, okay, you're going to be getting the accessories, and this unlocks, there's only Lycan and Igris at the moment, but for the Lycan, you're able to get the necklace and then also the rings, okay? And then for Igris, you're able to get, well, I guess, hold on, is there, yeah, okay, so, sorry, my bad, the bracelet, my bad, I kind of mixed it up. Then the ring and the earrings are going to be gotten through Igris. So that's going to be how you get your gear. Mainly, you could get some in gates. You could get some, I guess, in this game mode in the future. But besides that, for now, that's the main points about gear. Now then, let's go more in depth into weapons. I do want to kind of talk about it. So for Jinwoo weapons, right, there's going to be the basic attack, then the core attack, and then you're going to be able to see the skill here, okay? You're actually able to level them up. So please, for the most part, for your main weapons, actually do that. Now, you're able to level them up, and it's actually very annoying to get the level up material. I'm not going to lie. I've been able to stack up an okay amount, and then, like, it just goes away so quick, right? So quick, okay? Yeah, you're gonna be able to get the majority of it from a couple different places. Okay, so if we go into the shop, I'd say my main thing is through dispatch. You're gonna get some resources. If I could find the shop, I don't know, my brain kind of like just malfunctioned. But if we go to the exchange shop, all right, you're actually going to be able, if it wants to load, in the mana crystal exchange, you're going to be able to get at least some, okay? So just like that 200, and it's gotten, you get an extra 200. Or sorry, 100. Not 200. But the main point that you're gonna get them in is story. Okay, mainly the hard story. The hard story does like to actually give a good amount. Let me try to find. Mainly, I see the side story. So if I go to a side story, you'll see I get 40 from this. So hard, you want to do everything you can for it. Okay, does this one also give? Yes. So as you go, you do want to do hard. Even the side chapters are very important to do. Okay, that's something I do want to preface. Now, besides that, gates too. Now, one thing about gates is that you're going to want to make it so that the gates is actually going to just be more so that you're doing the blue ones, because these are the ones that give you the weapon enhancement gear. So you do want to actually do the blue gates for the most part, and obviously do red dungeons. I like to stray away from purple for now, in my opinion, and also gold, just to be able to get more of the weapon level up. Now, there's difference for hunters and also the Jinwoo separately. So, like, Jinwoo cannot use hunters, hunters cannot use Jinwoo weapons. Now, for this, obviously, you get the dupes, and then as you go, you can get up to 4,000 precision for an SSR, and then 2,000 for an SR, okay? Now, to advance, you will need the cubes, okay, which you can get in many different ways. You'll be able to get some selection pieces for that too, and all that's good, okay? So you can actually see the three things here, and then obviously they have the passive that goes alongside it. Now, I don't recommend salvaging anything but rare weapons, to be honest. Do not salvage SR weapons ever, okay? Ever. There might be a use for it, and you never want to let go of it. Now, for Hunter SSR weapons, how exactly do you get it? Now, in the case of this one, I got it for free, but you're actually able to craft them. Okay, so if we go to crafting, there will be some events sometimes for the new weapons that you're going to be able to craft the SSR weapons for the rate up units. That's the only way to get it, okay, by crafting. Now for the other ones, you're going to need 4 of these, and then you're going to need power crystals, which are kind of difficult to get, but in Battlefield of Time and in weapon materials exchange, you will actually be able to get them. Okay, now, to actually be able to get these, you will need to salvage, but you can see here that like I'm able to get a decent amount. Now, for these, you can either get them from trading in SSR weapons, from salvaging SSR weapons. Some other places are through some events, okay, to get those red like tickets. If we go to the weapon growth, you can see here, if I got to level 10, I'd be able to get one of these. Now, a big part is also in challenges, which I've completed, obviously. But you could see here that I would get a total of 3 from these challenges, and then like they are kind of requiring you to get at least 1 in another way to be able to actually craft it, right? But you can actually get these from events. Okay, I'm very close, and I'll actually be able to probably get it in 3 more days. I'll get 15 more capsules, so I'll be able to get probably 5 more pieces, and once you get 100 pieces, you're able to craft it. But then once this ends, it's actually going to go in here, so it's going to become a permanent weapon that you get basically completely for free, quotation marks, because of the fact that it does take a good amount of resources, time, and potentially money to actually get these weapon designs, but they are all here technically for free for the units that you want. So that is something to note. I think that's pretty good. Now then, there's a gold problem, and I think that this gold problem is probably going to stay. For example, leveling up your artifacts is very difficult. So like it's taking 4,400 per piece, but I only have like 3.7 million. I don't know what was going on in my brain there, but you could see I'm wasting a lot, and 3.7 million is something that was mainly money that got, but for a lot of free to plays, it's going to be difficult, and I probably wasted close to 100,000 gold just on leveling up this piece. So it's gonna be difficult. Okay, I'm not even okay at this point. Yeah, so I got lucky there. But to get gold, there's not really many ways, not many surefire ways. You just have to do everything to get gold and just get lucky. So like gates, okay, is like a decent way, right? Doing everything, right, that you can. But another main way, I guess, which is a bit funny, but the best way they thought of was to technically monetize it. So if we go into, I believe it is special. Yes, you will see that for 500 crystals a day, you'll get 100k gold plus 3 times 12 hours. So like we'll buy it just to kind of show you guys. And so if I get that, get my 100k gold. Okay, that's the main way I've been getting my gold. And then you have 3 of these, which are each giving 22,000. So technically for me, 180k because of bonus time, but that's another pay to win feature, I guess. So gold is something very scarce, but you do want to make sure that you're getting enough gold, and it's going to be rough. Okay, it's going to be rough. I already made a gold guide basically with every single way, but obviously I'd say getting that daily pack is probably one of the most surefire ways. Okay, what happened there? One of the most surefire ways to get gold, which is unfortunately through crystals. Now then, let's quickly talk about every single game mode. Okay, so story, basically you're just going through story. There's animated parts, there's parts that have, well, it's voiced, right? And there's modified parts, but they do it in a very interesting way where it's like kind of animated with the voices, and it's very well put together. And you're going to see that for yourself. Now, there's normal and hard, but in the future, there's going to be very hard. Now, hard, obviously, guess what, is harder, and it's going to be more difficult to get to the end. Now chapters seem to be updating in bulk, so like we're going to get like chapter 16, 17, 18 together. Now why the story's so good is because every single thing you do, even for like side chapters, right, is going to be giving you like 4 tickets if there's battle missions, and only 2 if there's no battle missions in the chapter. And every time you complete one of these, right, you're getting 15 crystals per. And hold on, I need to go to this to actually see it, but basically you get 50 crystals upon completion, and then at a total of 45, so you can get 95 crystals per, and obviously it's 250, so technically 3 battles, and if you get all the missions, then you're going to get a single in 3 battles, plus you got to consider the standard tickets that you're going to be getting when you complete it. So story is actually a very good way for resources. So is Battlefield of Trials, because it's going to be giving you tickets every 5 stages that you complete. We went over gates, we went over encore. Battlefield of Time is basically like a speedrun mode, and then Power of Destruction is a nuking mode. How much damage can you do? Now, there is the Army of Shadows, and I mean, this is going to take, you're going to have to grind a lot of gates for the Army of Shadows. I made a full in-depth video on it, but as of right now, there's 4 shadows in the game. On launch, I think we're going to get Cargill in too. Now, it's mainly going to go off of which units you're using. Are you using Jinwoo? Usually, if you're using Jinwoo, you're going to have Blades being Baraka, which is a game exclusive because he was not a shadow in the manhwa, even though he did appear. And then there's going to be Igris, who are the two main ones that I like to use. But if you're using Hunter, sometimes you might want to put him as the leader. I forgot his name. Tank. Sorry, no, Iron. Is it? No, it's Tank. Okay, it's Tank. It's Tank. I'm tripping. Now, they all have actually like skill details, and sometimes you will see, like, for example, Tank has a stun. Okay, Igris has a bleed. Okay, he doesn't have anything as of right now. You have to get him up. I'm pretty sure to even get anything. I think it's in here yet. Then he gets the attack increase, which then it becomes pretty crazy, right, for Baraka. Now, there's a lot of different resources and shades. So shades, you will not see how to get them until you go into stories and gates. So stories and gates will be obtained, what will give you the shades. Okay, so when you're running out of shades, you will actually have to do gates and stories to re-get them. Okay, so you will actually see them only when you're below the max level cap that you might get shades. It is not a guarantee, but that's how you get them. And then there's the different resources for the army level. It's the shadow energy, and then if we go here, there's a couple different ones. So I need the traces of shadow to get him up in promotion, and then I need the abyssal fragments to upgrade them, which is the same thing as the hunters, to upgrade the stats and power. Okay, now to unlock new shadows, I do need to extract, but I'm kind of saving up because I just want to focus on Igris personally. It's not even like a thing about like efficiency, right? So, you know, it's just something like that. And obviously we talked about using the shadows. Now, one thing I do want to keep in mind, okay, is that if we go into the story, for example, I guess we'll just go here. You can use shadows everywhere, but every time you use it is when you're using the, what's it called, the traces, right? But only the leader, only the shadows authority, the person in slot 1 is going to be getting the leader skill. So you can see I'm going to use 7,000 shades, okay, out of 1,200 every time I use it, okay. Now, if, for example, with Jinwoo, it's just better for me to have Baraka as the leader, but overall though, like, they're all decent enough as leaders. It's just going to depend on the scenario, which I'm going to leave to your discretion in most of the cases, depending on if it's a hunter or Jinwoo. Okay, so all the like shadows are going to be able to use their skills, including like Tank's big stun, which is actually very clutch, but only the leader in slot 1 out of 3 is going to be getting the leader skill active. Now we're just going to do a miscellaneous stuff. So basically there's different events, right? Capture draw and just other types of events is how you're going to get the weapon. Usually they give this to you very freely. Okay, so you're basically able to guarantee yourself this weapon in quite a short amount of time. And if you do any summons, day 1. Like day 1, so it's insane. So there's hunter previews that you're going to see sometimes, but then there's also these ranking things, which is usually going to be like not the craziest rewards, but it can definitely make a skill gap because you're getting these skill scrolls, which are definitely difficult to obtain. So they don't make it seem too crazy, but when you're getting these skill scrolls for being in top 3 in your little sub server, then it's actually quite important. And then, for example, weapon growth is giving this, which obviously, as we explained, we need 4 of these to actually craft the SSR weapon. So it would be pretty important for me to get it. And it's very like material heavy, and actually getting it can be quite difficult. So I definitely do think that it's something to keep out for. But overall, usually how you would go about it is save your resources until one of these things comes out with these weapon designs, because they are actually very important. But yeah, every new hunter, raid up hunter, is usually going to have an event type of like this. For what's his name, Choi Jung-in, it was a dice event. Now we're getting a capsule draw. I think the capsule draw is 10 times better than the dice event. Now other little things is like battle tier. Okay, so you get crystals whenever you increase your battle power between these your 4 top units. Okay, armory is a pretty important one. Usually for free to plays, you don't want to go too deep into it, but basically it's going to increase the amount of extra power you're going to be getting depending on Jinwoo's top weapons. So that's why you want to get up more weapons if you unlock the armory. But for the most part, early on, you don't want to unlock it because it does cost a lot to actually get it, or use the mark of time. So, you know, over time, I'd say for free to plays, then you get it. Maybe unlock the 4th slot, but that's mainly if you even have a Jinwoo weapon up. Besides that, don't really go into it. Now, special commission is also where you just kill mobs, and then you're going to be getting these pulls here, and then obviously extra crystals for actually killing the people. So that's, or the mobs, right? So that is a pretty cool one too. Now, dispatch, the ways you get it is from actually doing gates. I usually dispatch all because overall, I don't really do too many gates. But let's just say in my shop. Oh, okay, well, let me just claim this. Okay, if it wants to. Hello. All right, so little crystals to actually get there. But here, I have a bunch of actual stuff to get, and even some pulls. Oh, I didn't even see that this was here, so let me claim that. Okay, I was wondering why I had little pulls, but you can see I have a bunch of gate keys here. I'm just waiting to use them in one go, and using all those gate keys will actually give it to you. Now, of course, we already saw it before, but then there's going to be the exchange shop, which for the most part, what you're going to get from here is going to be, I guess, sometimes a weapon enhancement. And besides that, maybe artifact chips, but there's way better ways to get it, in my opinion. Mainly it's going to be the keys. So like Encore and Instance keys, you could get 2 a day each time. So definitely get that. But for sure, Dispatch is a pretty important thing. Like, you don't think about it at first, but definitely do it almost like every single day. Okay, I would say that's probably the best way to go about it, right? 1 hour, man, I've been yapping for 40 minutes. So honestly, that is a pretty good ratio. So for Codex, if you want to see anything, always going to hear claim your stuff. Some stuff does give crystals, and you could see all the passives and stuff from pretty much everything. So definitely just a little thing to just talk about, right? I'm trying to get through pretty much everything. But last thing for Fusion, right? We didn't really talk about it too much, right? But there's we're gonna talk about it in this section. So this is gonna be, I guess, its own little section, okay? So, for this, you're able to craft blessings. So, for example, with this, I'm able to. Oh, okay. Well, let's do one for blessings. So there's blessing in the runes. We already went over the runes, so I'm gonna mainly just talk about. I don't know what that was, but with these things, which you can get in a lot of different ways. So like red gates, and then like other different places. A lot of the places I get them through is from packs, though. You actually see there are some different ways you'll be getting runes, okay? And then let's say you get duplicates and stuff like that, you will actually be able to do simple fusion with or just like fuse the ones that you have extra and have a chance to get an epic rune, which is obviously going to be a better version, but I did not get lucky in this case. So blessings unlock at level 40, and then this one is 70, right? So like you're gonna get them over time. What is this one? When your attack hit, your attack stat increases by 2% for 10 seconds, but the attack stat of the target that was hit also increases. I like it. I do like it actually. Hold on, let me change this. So up to 4 times stacks. Okay, so that's decent, I think. I don't see what I switched off, but you can see. Okay, let me just equip this, get out of here. Okay, no more red. Okay, so blessings, this one usually you're gonna have on from the get-go, but as you go, you'll be able to get these blessings, and just it's gonna either give you damage decrease and stuff like that. So I find like there's so many different intricate parts to this game that it's insane, and offering a best version, or like the best thing, is just so situational depending on your weapons, other hunters, what they're able to apply, the amount of resources, free to play to win, just everything, your gear, okay, substats. So I find it really intricate, but I think just what we went in this video was just insane, right? There's a lot of stuff, but I hope you guys can enjoy this game. I think this game is very amazing. I love solo leveling, so I'm going to be playing this game. Now, unfortunately, it does like align very horribly with Black Clover, but it is what it is, because Black Clover is in a very hype period for themselves and leading up to one in the next month or so. But thank God it doesn't fully overlap, so I'm going to be able to cover solo leveling and stream as I want to. Now, I want to give a specific shout out to Painblade, because he is just absolutely amazing and just doing very good stuff on this game. So if you want super in-depth things, I recommend checking him out. He is absolutely an amazing person. We've talked, and I just, man, go check him out, right? He's definitely helped me understand a lot more stuff about the game and made it to where I could get to the point to make more videos for you guys that are more informational. So thank you to Painblade. Definitely amazing, right? Been doing insane amounts of testing, which I could only hope to I could only dream to get to the point for solo leveling, same as I do for Black Clover Mobile. But because of how much time I put into Black Clover Mobile, it's so rough to also do solo leveling. Now also Pride Win, okay, I'm also working on it, and with a couple other people alongside Vulcan, and also some other people that aren't necessarily content creators. But Pride Win is pretty good at doing a lot of good stuff, and I think that in terms of an overall database for all the games is very good. I like how they handle stuff, and you will see a lot of stuff from me on the site alongside from other people, but they have all the weapons, all the characters, and then also there's gonna be tier lists and the weapon tier list, which I didn't really handle much of the weapon tier list, but you know, I'm gonna take the shout out, I guess. Thank you, Antilar, for you guys to actually check out. So also there's gonna be guides, right? So definitely Painblade, this site being Pridewin. Check it out. These are the 2 main things that I would recommend you guys use as resources. Besides me, of course, right? Besides me, you know, because y'all love me. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you got to this point, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in more solo leveling Arise videos.